Welcome to tonight's episode of the Aliens and Cowboys podcast. I'm Garrett. With me tonight is Joe and Nate. Woo! Woo! And special guest, Nelly.
Yo.
Hey!
That was Joe.
That was me again. Sorry. I'm just excited to have you here.
Yes.
To have this discussion with us.
Yeah, this is Nelly's test run here. We'll see how he does.
Yep.
So he's a big Bourne fan. He's a fan of the podcast. He a friend of ours. He kind of, decided he wanted to try to give us a shot.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll definitely get, since I know, Nelly, you have watched the first couple, and we don't have your opinion on that, we'll get your brief opinion on Identity and Supremacy here in a little bit, okay?
All right.
Before we do that, anybody pop culture, Nate?
Yep. Kind of weird. I watched two movies this week. I had time to do that. The first one was Annihilation, starring Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac. Kind of a neat sci-fi movie. It had an interesting concept about kind of a biological area that was protected by what they call the shimmer. And what it does is kind of like essentially mix DNA.
It's weird.
Right. So, anyway, didn't particularly like the ending, but very interesting concept. They could have done a lot of cool things with that.
Do you feel like Oscar Isaac's in a lot of movies?
Yeah. That was a fairly small role for him in this movie, I thought, too.
And that is kind of how I think of some of his other roles, actually, where he kind of pops up randomly. Like, even on stuff on a rewatch. That I didn't realize. I know you talked about this earlier with me as well, Garrett. But yeah, he kind of pops up randomly. Like, I forgot he was even in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's worth a watch.
Is it on, what did you watch it on?
I think I watched it on either Hulu or Netflix. I think it was Hulu, though.
I think it's on Hulu, too. I think I've seen it, at least the thumbnail for the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
gotcha.
Okay, second movie?
So my second movie is Heathers. So
is that Rose McGowan? No. Christian Slater.
Christian Slater and Winona Ryder, 1988. It is very clearly a dark comedy, which would never fly today. They essentially go around killing the bullies at the school, running suicide notes, and there's kind of the culmination of this at the end about like the person you want to be and represent and how you carry yourself and stuff. But it's a pretty messed up movie.
It sounds messed up.
Yeah. It's kind of like a dark, super dark version of like Mean Girls, kind of too.
Okay.
But anyway, if that interests you, it's weird.
It sounds weird. I think I heard that referenced recently, only because if it stars Winona Ryder, you mentioned, right? Because I think it came up during a Stranger Things conversation I was having.
Yeah,
at one point in time.
She's fantastic, and so is Christian Slater. But it's just like I'm not really sure the context because I was very, very young at the time, so I don't really understand the culture around it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Points, so.
Young when you watched it? Or you watched it before?
No, I would have been like 2 years old. So
When you watched this movie the first time?
no,
When it came out?
When it came out.
Got it. I couldn't. Sorry, I got lost. I couldn't tell if you said you watched it before.
No. When it came out, and this is the first time I've actually watched it because I've heard people talk about it, but yeah, very different.
Would you say Heathers?
Heathers. So it's three girls. They're all named Heather.
Okay.
And they are essentially the same three Mean Girls situation where they're a clique, and Winona Ryder is the character trying to get into that group.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Nice.
Anyway, pass. Who else has got some pop culture?
Nelly, you got anything to add, Nelly?
I do. COD, the new Call of Duty.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Nice.
Do they have a release date on that?
Yes, I got that actually here. My notes. October 25th.
Nice.
So it's right around
Soon.
the corner.
Okay.
Cool.
And the new duos mode called Gunfight. It's duos, 2v2. It says first to 6, 40-second rounds, random loadouts each round, and if nobody wins at the end, a flag appears in the middle, and you got to hold it for 3 seconds. And if you still don't hold it for 3 seconds, whoever's got the most accumulated health at the end wins that round.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That's different. 40-second round.
30 seconds. That's like lightning
No,
fast. For
no
that.
kill streaks, no perks, and
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
I'll probably still get
You
kills.
like a lot of hardcore modes, though.
Yeah, it's
like
because
no radar.
Well, that's because I feel like it's stupid when somebody
One
shoots
shot,
you
one
with a
kill.
50
But,
caliber
they said
and you
the
don't
health
die.
doesn't regen.
Yeah.
So it'll be health doesn't regenerate on that one, so it'll be
Yeah, well, no, but come on, let's just have this conversation, Nate. Getting shot with a 50 cal in a game, and your guy not dying, and he's clearly human, he's not alien, and he just like, poof, you know, and like
brushes it
just
off.
like brush, yeah.
Yeah.
It takes 2 shots all of a sudden.
Have you guys ever seen The Jackal with Jack Black?
Yes.
When Bruce Willis, he goes, let me test out the sights on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a 50 cal does.
Yeah, it took his arm right off.
Yeah.
It doesn't, which by the way is a great action movie.
I'm in agreement with you,
Yeah,
100%.
So that's why I like the hardcore. Now, granted, do I feel like getting shot in the foot should kill somebody? No, but I feel like if you don't play hardcore, a lot of times you could just unload a clip on somebody and somehow you're not killing them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing too, they said the campaign is pretty controversial. They're gonna have some missions like no Russian from Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Okay.
they're saying that rumor is that remember in the other ones you kill civilians and mission fail. This one collateral damage happens and it you don't fail. It just goes on. It's gonna be pretty gruesome.
Dang.
I'd be calling it airstrikes. Airstrikes this way.
But yeah,
Not
I'm
gonna
pretty
lie.
stoked for that.
That's like absolute. Being able to kill a civilian and not failing the mission is like going to be the new definition of run and gun. Mm-hmm. Just going to literally shoot anything that moves.
And they're saying there's a mission you play as a child soldier.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
so-
gutsy. They might strike that out by the time it happens.
That-
Once it
we'll
gets
see.
here.
yeah, I don't
Once
know.
it gets here.
They do kind of embrace that controversy, it seems
Yeah.
like, for some of these
But-
releases that they do. But
Okay. How about
what's it going to be rated? Probably M.
Yeah.
I'll hazard a guess. That's
You
probably
know what's
accurate.
weird? Like, yeah, but think about like when you're a kid, you're buying video games. Before they had the rating system,
Yeah.
which was I don't know, maybe Xbox originally when it was first initiated.
It's been around a while.
Yeah, I remember.
Like ESRB.
yeah?
Rating
Yeah,
structure?
like the original Xbox though.
Oh no, I think
Like,
Super
like
NES.
Nintendo
think,
64 had that.
Yeah.
Oh, they did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just
Because Duke
kinda
Nukem,
crazy
Duke
to me.
Nukem had a rating on it.
Conker's Bad
I
Yeah.
think that was the
Good reference.
kickoff.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem definitely had a rating.
I want to say
Halo.
Duke Nukem was one of the
It might
key
have been.
components of
Yeah.
having that kickoff.
You know, because I had the original Hitman computer game, and there was a rating on that as well, and that would have
Man.
been pretty old. That would have been like 90s.
There's nothing more frustrating, let alone getting carded to buy beer now. The age that I am, when someone at Walmart that's like 16 goes, "Can I see your ID to buy like a video game?"
Right? Oh
Okay.
man. Slap in the face.
Can I see your manager?
Nate with his
your manager.
Can you like those memes with like Nate with his haircut? Like,
Oh, yeah, comb over.
yeah, let's come over. This is Nate. Can I see your manager haircut?
I didn't grow this beard to get carded.
Took time.
Yeah, it took time.
So Nelly, okay. So Cod, how about any movies you've seen recently?
Yeah, the Wind River.
Okay, nice.
And,
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
One of my favorites, Taylor Sheridan. We
Yep,
talked about
and,
him quite a bit.
Jeremy Renner.
Yep. Yeah.
Good movie.
Elizabeth
And,
Olsen,
Hell-
one of my favorites.
And Hell and High Water. Hell
Hell or High Water.
or High Water.
Nice.
Yep, with Ben Foster and what's the other guy?
Pine. Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, yeah.
So also great, and I'm glad you bring this up because we are going to pivot after the Bourne Ultimatum, and we're going to cover what is collectively known as the Taylor Sheridan Trilogy. We're just going to stick with trilogies for a while, I guess. We're going to do Hell or High Water, Wind River, and finish it up with probably one of the best movies ever made, Sicario, which is one of my top 5 favorites all time. But it's great because I'm glad you brought up Ben Foster. I started watching a movie, and so I'm not done with it because I do it every 30 minutes. 310 to Yuma.
Oh yeah.
It's
that's a good
it's
one.
Russell
It's been a
Crowe,
while.
Christian Bale, Ben Foster. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen it recently, but I swear the first time Ben Foster steps into on his horse and he's coming into the screen, he's wearing eyeliner.
Is he?
It just looks so weird. He looks like he's got eyeliner on, and it just looks out of place because he's a cowboy in the West.
Yeah.
So it's just bad makeup.
The
I
first
think.
Ben Foster movie I saw was with Bruce Willis, I think.
The Hostage.
The Hostage.
Yeah, or Hostages
And
or whatever.
Punisher.
It is. Yep.
Those- yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of took a turn because, like, in Alpha Dog, he kind of
that's
takes a
right.
turn to like becoming like a hard ass.
I forgot about
Like
Alpha
if you
Dog.
watch him in his later movies, you know, Alpha Dog, the mechanic with Jason Statham, obviously 310 to Yuma, he plays a really tough guy, which is way different than he was in The Punisher. He was the guy with all the piercings on his face that they basically tortured to get information on
I didn't
Thomas
know it was
Jane's
him.
character.
Yeah.
So he definitely took a career pivot towards, you know,
Yeah.
more of a heavy role. How about you, Joe? What do you got?
Yeah, I do have a couple things here. Discovered earlier today, they are planning to make a Warhammer TV series.
Saw that. Did
Yeah.
not read about it. Did you read about it?
I read a little bit about it, and it does sound like it's going to be produced or in some capacity will be helmed by the studio that's doing Man in the High Castle as well. So, I mean, I think it probably will have some pretty good production quality to it. I'm not sure if any of you guys play tabletop games or Warhammer, or if any of our listeners do, of course. We've kind of talked about it periodically in the past. But I think this could be really cool. There's still not a lot that we know about it. It does seem like, for fans of the lore, if you've read the books, that it's going to probably focus on a character called Gregor Eisenhorn, which is a very popular character within 40K. So I think if they're probably walking a fine line here, kind of similar to video game to movie adaptations. I get that this is, books and board games, and they have done game adaptations of Warhammer things in the past. But to bring this to a live-action TV series with a big budget, I think it's a pretty big risk. But if they do it well, I think it could be really, really cool and introduce new people to a franchise they might not have had any knowledge of until now.
I will agree with you, but I also think that you're correct. That I think the scale and scope of this type of a project, to be successful, would almost have to be like on a Game of Thrones scale.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that they would have a very large budget. I feel like this would have to be a network reaction to like Lord of the Rings going to Amazon, and because if it's not going to be, if you're not going to have a huge production value, I can't imagine it's going to do service to the game. If they do not throw money at this, just to put it bluntly, it will not have even a chance, because the scope of the soldiers, the power armor, the aliens, the factions, if they want to do this game any kind of justice to tell the story in a TV format, it's going to have that production quality behind it. It really is. And do we know who's producing, like what network?
I do not know that as of yet. I was trying to track that down. I wanted to bring it up because it's really cool. I've been aware of Warhammer for quite some time, and I've kind of dabbled in purchasing the miniatures just because I enjoy painting them, but I've never actually committed to playing the game itself yet, so my knowledge of the characters and the background and the lore is really patchy, I guess you could say. But it's really cool. I mean, if the character designs are even close to the tabletop game designs, that alone will be worth watching, because the character designs in this thing are absolutely outstanding. So if they're able to continue through with those themes and actually bring that to life, I think it'll draw in viewers based purely on the aesthetic of the show itself. So,
well, it's really interesting because if it's not done by Showtime, if it's not done by Amazon, it's, it goes to the conversation we've had before of these networks trying to get these large replacements for Game of Thrones. Now, I'm assuming this 40K TV show is going to be, I don't know, probably a year or two away from until we see it. Okay? I mean, I can't imagine it's like ready to come out.
No, this is, I think, the first official announcement for it, so we're not even pre-production yet.
The guy who did the Man in the High Castle?
Yes, from the studio who did Man in the High Castle, it sounds like. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. It's kind of in my queue. And that's on Amazon, right?
Yep.
Is that Amazon Prime?
They're in the final season of it right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Like I said, they're trying to cut things to make room for Lord of the Rings. Which is probably going to take up a lot of their budget. Speaking of things that are coming forward that I'm unhappy about, I went on a couple different rants.
Good segue.
prior to the podcast. I've mentioned it before. I'm a really big fan of the Terminator series, and it is rumored, so you can skip ahead about 15 seconds if you don't want to hear this rumor, but the new Dark Fate Terminator is coming out, and it's rumored that they're going to basically kill off John Connor in the first few minutes of this movie. And Den of Geek had a huge article today written about Terminator Dark Fate. James Cameron came back and he basically talked about how, to him, the central figure to the movie was always Sarah Connor, not John Connor. And so that's what he's kind of retconning this story to basically use movie 1, movie 2, movie 6 now, and getting rid of 3, 4, and 5, that they don't exist. And they kind of made a big deal about this in the media lately, about how there's going to be some female lead central characters in the Terminator series, or this new movie, and how men were having a problem with this. And I have to first say I disagree with that men were really having a problem with this, because anybody that's a real fan of the Terminator series knows that women have been a part of this from day one, and they're arguably the most central figures to the show. So, Linda Hamilton, main character in the first movie. You know, really huge in the second movie. Claire Danes, Terminator 3, is probably a bigger actress in that movie than Nick Stahl is playing John Connor, okay, as his wife. Emilia Clarke playing Genesis as Sarah Connor. The Sarah Connor Chronicles are, you know, Sarah Connor and a female, you know, Summer Glau as a Terminator. Like, women are central figures, not even talking about the Terminatrix, who's a female Terminator in the third movie. I just don't believe that there's that much anger about women being stars in this movie. I think the anger is, if you kill off John Connor, you spent the entire 5-movie series telling me John Connor is the most important character, and now you're changing that. That's what I think people are mad about. Not that you're putting a female lead in there, because that's fine. There's always been female leads in Terminator. It's the fact that you just said that John Connor is no longer important, and that's I got a problem with that.
I would equate it to Game of Thrones issue, right? Emilia Clarke, you build her up for 7.5 seasons to be the one that's going to sit on the throne, and then you say, oh, on a dime, she changes direction, and she's evil now.
Yeah, but not only that, but you know exactly. You say these people are important, like John. Like I think it's more akin to John and the Night King, because I had a problem with not that the Night King gets killed by Arya, but that John's built up to fight the Night King for 3 seasons, and the fact that he doesn't do it. So then his whole story arc really becomes nothing, because what was his point? What was the use of Jon Snow in the back half of that show?
Well, who's going to watch the Night Watch now that the Night King's gone?
Well, true. Fair enough now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Dark Fate, I'm still going to see it. I'm going to go to it because I love that series. I like the fact that James Cameron's there, Linda Hamilton's back, Schwarzenegger's there. I just really hope that I'm wrong and the rumors of that premature death aren't true, because I feel like that's not going to do well for the show. So, I don't know. Do you guys have an opinion on that, John Connor? Sarah Connor? Any fans?
I'll say, before you told me about John Connor dying in the first 5 minutes, I kind of enjoyed...
Spoiler alert again.
I enjoyed the trailer, but that's what trailers are supposed to do.
Yeah.
I thought that the new Terminator is like such a natural progression to have like a liquid / endoskeleton 2 now.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, I just feel like I just wish they'd keep the character. I feel like this would have been the perfect time if you're going to reboot the franchise, because, like, you know, I was talking to you and Nelly before, Nate. What Terminator fans want is the war. We don't want movies stopping Judgment Day anymore. Judgment Day is unstoppable from what we're told. We want,
according to 3,
we want the
which is not canon
anymore. We want the nuclear bombs to go off because we want to see the war between the humans and the machines. That's the story we want. That's the John Connor story. That's what we want to watch. Like, that's what's going to be great. Take it that way. Like the Christian Bale part, right? The Christian Bale movie Salvation. Take it there. But don't have Christian Bale be John Connor, okay? You know, do maybe a lesser known actor so you can do the trilogy of them.
Yeah, like Daniel Day-Lewis or somebody.
He's going to
Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's going to end up actually setting off nuclear bombs. He gets so into character, he actually blows stuff up.
Just like lives with Ted Nugent for 6 months.
So, anyways, that's my rant for the time. Anybody have anything else before we get to why we're here tonight?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Bourne Ultimatum. And let me just say, Nate, Joe, I'm glad to have you both back on the podcast. We had a couple of weeks where it was, you know, hit and miss with one of you or the other one of you.
I know.
Nelly, again, glad you're here. So,
Appreciate it.
Trilogy, we'll follow through like we do the Bourne Ultimatum with all the categories we go through in a minute. I want to get back to the John Wick, Jason Bourne debate now that we got all of us here together, and you've seen the third movie now, Joe.
I have seen the third movie.
Okay, so I'm wondering, just curious, don't say it now, just curious if anybody's opinions have changed on the John Wick versus Jason Bourne hand-to-hand combat. Okay? Before we get started on the the Bourne Ultimatum, Nelly, what were your thoughts, or what is your thoughts on the franchise as a whole?
Well, to start out, it's my favorite trilogy, by far.
Favorite trilogy or favorite action trilogy?
Honestly, probably favorite trilogy.
Favorite trilogy,
Yeah.
okay.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do you think... Well, no, we'll get to that later. Do you like 1, 2, or 3 better?
Probably 3.
Three your favorite?
Yeah. When I watched Supremacy, it was a close call, but
Okay.
Ultimatum, always my favorite.
Nice.
Okay.
I used to watch that one over and over.
Does anybody know, did that one did the best at the box office?
It did. Well,
It did.
technically the fifth one, or the Jason Bourne movie, did the best, but
Okay.
Bourne Ultimatum did the best of the three of the trilogy
The original
originally.
trilogy. Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything critiquing of the first 2 movies that you want to mention? Like anything you can think about that you just you want to get your opinion out there on?
The first two, no.
Okay.
I mean, besides that they're awesome.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. All right. So let's do it then. Let's get to our normal categories. Anybody want to do the brief synopsis here?
Well, I'll defer that to one of you gentlemen.
I'll defer to you because I'll be honest, I didn't watch Supremacy since it was on.
Well, we're doing the Bourne Ultimatum.
Well, I know, but how does he end up to where he's at? We go from there.
You have a bad habit of not watching. Not watching what you're not on.
I know, I'm the worst.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
All
So
right, let me preface this, and then someone pick me up. He's in Russia. ...
Okay. So Ultimatum picks up where Supremacy leaves off. He basically is, kind of trying to. How should I say? He's recovering from his gunshot wound. He's trying to basically get medical treatment, and he's basically, once he does get that medical treatment, he's trying to find Marie's brother so that he can kind of let Marie's brother know what happened to Marie from Supremacy. And then what really happens is it's going to basically kick off that he starts realizing that there's a reporter with some information about Blackbriar. Sorry,
Yeah.
Nelly had advised me. I've been saying Black Brian this entire time. It's Blackbriar.
Black Brian?
Twice.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. you never corrected me.
I could have corrected you on that one.
You didn't.
Well, I wasn't there.
So basically, that Jason Bourne finds out that there's a source, basically, of Blackbriar, and he wants the information about what Blackbriar is because, again, it's the umbrella program, the basically tip of the iceberg for the Treadstone program. Mm-hmm. And the entire movie is him trying to uncover what Blackbriar is, as well as he starts having different flashbacks now, and he knows that his personal story is at the heart of Blackbriar.
Yep.
And so he's basically trying to uncover that. And basically succeeds.
It's pretty much part 3 of chasing down who's chasing him.
Yeah. First thoughts on rewatching this movie?
I took some notes early on. So
Nate's
before the movie even starts, they have an HD DVD commercial
Of the movie? Of the video game?
No, like literally promoting like HD DVDs, which are no longer available because Blu-ray won that race, right? Yeah. Which I thought that's pretty taxing.
Good thing I placed the right bet there.
All right, I'm gonna name 2 of the movies that have trailers before the movie starts, and you name me. You tell me whether they went straight to DVD or not. American Pie, Beta House.
Straight to
DVD.
Correct. Yeah.
Because I bought that one.
Give this other one. Bring It On, In It to Win It.
Straight to DVD.
Also straight to DVD.
Those are my 2.
Which, by the way, speaking of the trailers, did anybody realize they had a Jason Bourne video game?
I
they
did not. know that.
I was going to ask, because if anybody had played it, Nelly, it would have been you.
Yeah, it was good.
Looks like James Bond.
It was all the hand-to-hand combat on it.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Okay.
Like the Xbox game.
The Matrix?
Well, that one, but where you're the undercover cop and the Asian Chinese.
Yakuza?
No, Sleeping Dogs.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
The fighting was kind of like that. All the countering and all that. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
It was
But
pretty
yeah, I
good.
saw that and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot, because that would have been like PlayStation 1 probably, or maybe
That's what it was.
PlayStation
Might
2.
have been 2, but yeah, it was back in the day. It was a good one.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead,
Very
Nate.
cool.
Okay.
Get back to your notes.
Sorry, that's it for notes pre-movie start.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on rewatching the movie?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought Matt Damon did an excellent job of reprising his role and really coming into that role.
Okay.
Because, again, I skipped Supremacy. Shame on me. But between Identity and now, he really owns the role. Mm-hmm. He's got his memory back. He knows who he is. He knows kind of what his purpose is. And he's got direction.
Can I tell you, speaking of just not watching the movie, so I did get some listener feedback. Somebody, well, drop names. It's my mother. She said, when Nate goes, I really didn't watch the movie. She goes, it really takes away from the actual podcast. So, Nate, going forward, you must watch what we cover.
That's constructive criticism, right?
That's just criticism. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Something I noticed, he looked a little bulkier.
Yeah, he looked
Must have been doing his pull-ups.
Yeah, that's
Which
right.
we still have to get to, gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We do. We do need to
I cleared
get
out the
that.
garage. I'm ready to go.
All right. Good
All right.
deal.
We'll
Yeah,
get
sorry, listeners.
Step
we did
one
have
done.
to postpone that.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it. So
Did you clear out the garage for the pull-up contest, or because your wife made you?
50-50.
Got it. Fair enough.
Way to be honest.
Yeah, I noticed that too now. He is heavier, especially in the face, too. Anything else, Nate?
Nope.
Okay. Just you like the fact that he reprised his role. You thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay. Nelly, your thoughts on rewatching this?
Just the bulkiness.
Okay. Joe?
Cool. Yeah, so this is...
Your first time
Nelly, I'm not
watching
sure
it.
they told you. Yeah, so I'd never seen in its entirety any of these movies
Yeah.
before now.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So,
I heard.
okay, go. You're like, I know.
He had a
I've been
problem.
following
Yeah. But I'm very glad I watched them. I think as a trilogy, taken as a whole, it's probably one of the better trilogies out there. Regardless of action movie status, thriller status, however you want to classify this trilogy of movies, it's phenomenal. And I thought this was a really strong finish, which sometimes is the hardest part.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I didn't want it to end.
Yeah, and you can fumble at the end with it and not tie everything up, but this does such a good job of it, which I really, really enjoyed that. I got all the answers that I was kind of looking for.
Okay.
I actually enjoyed the way it ended also.
Yeah.
Where, after he falls into the water at the end there, he's able to get away, which is
Swims away.
And
then.
they-
swims
Yeah.
away.
And they kind of make you wait a second.
They do.
Right?
And it's a
Yeah.
complete throwback. I love how it's essentially one of the first scenes from the first movie
Yes.
where he's in the water.
Yes.
And you just see him floating there. So I thought that was a great little callback also.
Yep.
And lastly, I will say, while obviously his hand-to-hand combat in the first two movies was great, this one with Desh, which I'll put a pin in this because I'm sure we'll revisit it
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
during our conversation tonight, but outstanding. So the fight choreography in this and showing what Bourne's capable of doing, I felt this entry was the strongest to do that, and this overall was my favorite of the trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I agree with you. I thought this movie is the best. I'm not going to say it's my favorite because I'm still going to ride for Supremacy.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't
That's
think Supremacy is the best movie. It's my favorite movie. But I do think that Bourne Ultimatum is, like you said, it's a strong finish to the trilogy, which was originally just a trilogy. They did not, obviously they leave it open for him to he survives, so there's always another story potentially. But they stuck the landing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of trilogies where they stick the third movie. So really, kudos, hats off. I like a lot of the cast they brought in. What's his name? We said David Strathairn. I like him. He's Noah Volson. I'm a big Albert Finney fan. He plays the doctor who basically is the one that did the psychological testing on him. Scott Glenn.
Yep,
his.
Scott Glenn's in it.
Edgar Ramirez comes in as the new assassin, which I
Okay,
want to have a discussion on ranking the assassins from the trilogy and see what you guys think is your favorites are. I thought that Joan Allen. Although I want to have a conversation about Joan Allen because I've been a big fan of hers, still very strong performance.
Yeah.
Have some questions though where I'm going to start to nitpick her a little bit. Okay, and I got some questions too on Jason Bourne and the believability of that. He makes the comment that this has been going on for 3 years. Are we to believe that he can still wipe out all the assassins without really being in training for 3 years? So we'll get to that debate. Pin that one, okay? But overall, very strong movie. I believe, Nate, you asked earlier, did this do the best? And I think at the time, financially, this one had the best box office of the original three. I do think Jason Bourne, the fifth one when Damon comes back, did outperform this one. Okay.
I did like Supremacy, the fact, not like it because of that, but where Marie got killed, he just throws him over the edge and he just goes.
Yeah, see, that's why I like Supremacy too. I like that revenge factor that it untethers him, that he's unleashed to be able to do what he wants. And I feel like that one more so than the first one is where you really see what his skill level is. So that's why I like Supremacy the best. But again, I do think Ultimatum is the stronger film. Let's do casting changes. Anything you guys can think of?
I had a question. Did they change the actor that played his original love interest's brother? Correct?
Yes.
They did.
It's the guy that's
in
Baron
Captain
Zemo.
America.
Yes.
War.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh, he's
Okay.
a Russian.
Another check in the box for Nate. Got it.
Should take that note, Nate.
I did take that note.
But yeah, I thought that did throw me at first because I was like, "Wait, he's talking about Maria." Oh, they recast it. I was like, "All right." It took me a second to
you're
figure
like,
out what they
who
were
is
doing
this
there.
dude?
Yeah, well, because in my head from the original movie, he was much older in appearance,
taller.
and
Yeah.
which I get on a recast. You can't match traits perfectly, but still, that took me a second to be like, "Oh, okay, it's Marie's brother." I got it.
How about Aliens and Cowboys podcast favorite Julia Stiles is back.
Yeah, that's right.
Star power.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. So under casting changes, I was like, how about what not to change? Julia Stiles.
Okay.
I thought she did a good job in this. I like that they expanded her role, and if you remember both of us kind of agreed last episode, Garrett, on our criticisms of like, well, you could kind of probably take that role out.
Yes.
I think by this third movie, now it all makes sense. You connect the dots to this point, and I think it makes a lot of sense retroactively viewing 1 and 2 to be like, oh, okay, yes, having her character here from the beginning fills in some blanks.
I agree. And there's
I think
times,
she does a strong performance.
No, I agree. And there's times where you retroactively look back at her and you see her interaction with Jason Bourne, not knowing they had a relationship. You know, who knows if they planned that from the beginning. If they had planned that, it's an amazing act. It's way better. If you could go on, if they can go on record and be like, yep, planned it, then I feel like her role in 1 and 2 much better than what it should have been. Because then she's definitely like, clearly curious about him because of their relationship, but definitely scared of him because she's like, he doesn't clearly know anything about, or he's not at least recognizing me or acting like we've had this connection.
She stares at him like he doesn't really know. Like
yes.
He really doesn't remember.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like that's one of those things where if it's planned, great.
I'm with Nelly on that. She does a very good job of like her character mentioning things, but she doesn't try to like convert him and tell him what his past was at all.
She has no problem like helping out, like even going to the other side and risking her career or whatever to help him out.
Okay, hold on. Stop that, Nelly. I will stop. Stop that. But my question is, are we to believe that she would really, like when she does her check-in with the code name, right? When they're in, I don't remember. Are they in Paris?
Sparrow,
And wherever they're at for Neil Daniels is like location, and she gives him the wrong or the correct code for being safe.
Everest.
Yeah. Everest. Yes. Nice call.
It's one of his notes.
Ruby and Everest.
Nice.
Steel trap.
Yep. I get it. Are we supposed to believe she'd throw away her career? She had enough to
for the love of her life.
But she had enough. But hold on.
You're guessing that's her love.
Two things. Are we supposed to believe that that's the love of her life as Jason Bourne, or they were just like in a relationship? Probably. Second of all, are we supposed to believe though that she hadn't thrown away her career up to this point, had been around Jason Bourne multiple times already, and would all of a sudden choose to give it up? Because that's what I have problems with in this movie, is Julia Stiles giving up her career, and specifically Joan Allen giving up her career.
Oh, see, okay, I'm glad you mentioned this, because I'm approaching it from the exact opposite end of the spectrum we usually do. You're correct. Wherein that does make sense. I think Julia Stiles and Pamela Landy, I'm sorry, what's the actress?
It's Joan Allen.
Joan Allen, okay, yeah, but her character, Pamela Landy, they are drawing a line in the sand where they know something is wrong, and they can't quite place what it is yet, and they've just decided to commit to say, you know what? I'm going to trust my gut. Jason Bourne's looking for the same answers that we also need to know, and we think there's probably bad stuff going on that Jason Bourne will help fix.
Yeah.
So they're committing to help him. And fortunately for them, that ends up being the correct decision, of course. But, yeah, so I buy it.
What's your opinion?
What other information do they have to base that on? So, to play devil's advocate with you, right?
Play Garrett's advocate.
Garrett's advocate. All they know is what those higher-up people are telling them, that he's a threat to national security, and he knows all these secrets, and he's been killing assets left and right. You'd have to lean towards that he probably is a threat. Well, to some degree.
Okay, but from the Bourne Supremacy, Pamela Landy and her character's
Nikki Parsons.
Nikki Parsons, yeah. Thank you. So Pamela Landy and Nikki Parsons are kind of strategizing in the second one with other higher-ups and other people within the CIA on how to bring in Jason Bourne, and they're in those conversations where they're also piecing together that in the second movie, he's not doing what people were framing him to do. So I think the doubt is already there, very clearly from the movie just prior to this one. So if you carry that through into the Bourne Ultimatum, I think it tracks very logically that they're like, okay, yeah, everything that happened just not that long ago was not what we were told it was.
I can get on the page that Nikki Parsons more than Pamela Landy would give it up. When Pamela Landy gives it up, I didn't buy that because I would think that to get to her level of height in the agency, you're a true believer. And I think that's where I feel like she wouldn't have walked away.
Yeah, but those people, it's the bad people within the organization that they're still trying to root out.
I get it.
So I think she's clean, in other words. So she's very devoted. I think she is a true believer in terms of what she's doing is the right thing to do, and that's ultimately what leads her to trust Bourne.
Correct. But let's also, I mean, okay. Somebody remember to come back to Blackbriar as a whole. We'll come to that towards the end. How about that when we cover it when he gets
Fair
to
enough.
meet Albert Finney?
Fair enough.
Okay. I also, just to throw this out there because we're talking about casting changes, I really like Albert Finney. He's the psychologist.
Yeah.
He was the original Hercule Poirot in the first Murder on the Orient Express. He's in the movie The Good Year with Russell Crowe, really good. I think he's in Big Fish. He's in Aaron Brockovich. He's got that voice though. He's one of the rare actors that has a really definitive voice, and I think that brings a lot to, especially when he's doing the flashbacks and his visions, and you just really get him talking. It's great.
Yeah.
I think he recently passed away. I could double check that, but
I really enjoyed Big Fish. Just jumping back.
Is that in your notes?
I really like that movie. I don't know.
Nice.
It touches home.
How about anybody? Noah Volson.
Who's that?
He played. That's David Strathairn. He played Noah Volson. He was the guy that was kind of like Pamela Landy's opposite.
Okay.
By the way, he did die. He died February of this year.
Oh, jeez.
He was in Skyfall too. He's the caretaker in Skyfall.
He's the caretaker. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and he's Daddy Warbucks in Annie.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Man, he's been all kinds of.
He's in
more
a
than
lot
I
of
thought
stuff.
he was.
So,
okay.
Really good actor, like him. Interesting role for him to bring on. But let's talk David Strathairn. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, so let's call him David S.
Yeah.
He's Noah Volson in this.
Dave.
Do you guys like his character?
Well, I despise his character.
Yeah.
You despise his character.
The actor does a great job. I'm not trying to disparage his performance. He does a great job. But the character, I'm actively rooting for Pam to put him in his place.
Seriously?
Yeah, I couldn't stand him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked him from the standpoint of he has to be the bad guy.
Yes, he has a job to do.
He understands that role is above himself, and he's got to make the hard decisions. And he doesn't think about right or wrong. He just knows that's what has to be in order to keep this thing going. The U.S. government, I guess.
This thing of ours.
Yeah,
No
no thing
pressure,
called the
bud.
CIA.
To keep the project going.
Yeah. That's super great, Nate. Okay, so let's talk about why do you hate, not the actor, but why do you hate the character? Because there has to be a government force in these movies, right? So in the first one, second one's Brian Cox. This one, it's David Strathairn. The Bourne Legacy, it's Ed Norton, and in the Jason Bourne, it's Tommy Lee Jones. Okay, so there's always got to be this figurehead that represents the CIA, the NSA, senators, whatever it is, right? What about his character though? He's first off, let's just put it this way: he's not wrong. He's 100% in the right.
How so?
He is charged
Break
by the
that down
federal
for me.
government. Okay, Jason Bourne to the United States government is still a target, still definitively threat. Because even if he is a good person and he doesn't want to hurt people, his intelligence and knowledge of what he has and what he has done makes him a direct threat to the United States. They would basically probably be a target for the rest of his life. Just for security purposes, he probably has to be killed. Agreed? Anybody disagree with that?
Agreed.
I'll say disagree.
They can try.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But, okay, so you agree, Nate, that they have to kill Jason Bourne.
I think they think that.
Assuming that he was not going to be rehabilitated and brought back into the program. Okay, so kill him. Nelly?
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, argue why the U.S. government does not have to end Jason Bourne.
Because of, once again, tying back into the Bourne supremacy. It's all right there. And now I get that you have the Russian side of things from that particular film that ties into this one, kind of dovetails into it, and then it goes a separate direction. But Bourne's just, from the first movie, he's like, I want out. I'm going to go live off the grid and not cause you guys any more trouble. And for 2 years, that is 100% correct. At which point in time, the only reason why he then is off the leash, as you mentioned, is because the Russian assassin kills his wife.
Yep.
and frames him for something he did not even do.
Correct.
So now, absolutely, he's trying to figure out answers, which Pam Landy totally understands and seems to get why Bourne is now acting and behaving the way that he is. So if there were more people thinking rationally about it, like Pam, rather than Noah, who is giving kill orders on the fly because he's panicking.
Yeah.
He's panicking and saying, kill these people.
I
that's
agree,
what he's doing.
I agree he's panicking. I agree, but I also agree that that's the loose ends to this that he has to tie up. Because he's not the director of the CIA. Scott Glenn is. Right? It's going up the chain of command. Noah Volson just happens to be the character that's in charge of this particular project. My point to it, though, is even if Jason Bourne said, I'm done, I'm going home, blah, 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 just his knowledge base alone, he is a direct threat to the United States government.
I get that, but also the entire part of the Bourne Ultimatum hinges on the fact that Blackbriar was like completely off the grid and not sanctioned. Unless I'm missing something completely. Like the fact that she faxes the evidence.
Well, no, it's not that it's off the grid. It's just top secret. The government clearly knows about it because these guys, Scott Glenn was said, like, at the end you'll catch the clip of him in the Senate hearing where he says, I don't have any knowledge of this. Clearly he has knowledge of it, right? So the director, coming from the director of the CIA, they're aware of this black on black ops operation. She is getting it out there that U.S. citizens were being killed in this program.
Yeah, they
were sanctioned by the U.S. government, though.
Well, that's the whole problem. They were using it as a kill team for whatever they kind of randomly deem necessary, is what we grow to understand.
Well, Brian, to be fair, the only one that we know that they killed that was unnecessary was Nevsky, and that's a Brian Cox Russian oligarch thing. That's not really the U.S. government. That was Brian Cox going rogue. Right? That was his first mission off the books. That's why Nikki Parsons was not aware of it. Everything else was sanctioned by the U.S. government.
Do we know that though? Can't we logically assume that if that was off the books and there's X number of agents, how many agents are there?
I agree, but the only thing understand. But the only thing we can acknowledge with Jason Bourne is the only knowledge we have is that only one mission we're aware of was off book. Everything else was on book. Wambosi, they talk about how he picked the target in the first movie. He picked the boat. He picked the crew. Like, he picked everything to assassinate Wambosi on the boat, where he decided that he short-circuited, basically, when he didn't want to do this anymore. Even up to including, he realizes he volunteered to be Jason Bourne when he executes the guy in the training facility. Like, again, I'm not trying to say that Jason Bourne deserves to die or anything like that. I'm saying the U.S. government cannot let Jason Bourne live if he's not going to come back into the program.
In their eyes, he's a liability.
He's an absolute liability.
But they're wrong.
They can't come at him, right? But I feel like that's why Noah Volson is playing that role, that he's the one that's basically stuck holding the bag. And that's on him, just like every head of the CIA, person that they have in these movies gets stuck holding whatever bag Jason Bourne gives them. Okay, we'll move ahead. We'll come back because I want to get into more debate about Jason Bourne. Because let me find my categories here. Nate, what's our next category?
Best scene.
Ooh, what's your favorite scene, Nate?
My favorite scene, and it goes. I'm going to jump ahead to my favorite quote.
Do it.
It's the conversation between is it Noah?
Yep.
Noah and Jason Bourne. When Jason Bourne calls him, he goes, "Where are you?" And Noah goes, "I'm sitting in my office." And he goes, "I doubt that." And then he questions again. He's like, "Why would you doubt that?" And he goes, "Well, if you were here in the office right now, we'd be having this conversation face to face," which is kind of the big twist about how he duped him into going out and chasing him.
Yeah.
And somehow snuck into a government facility with no one recognizing him.
I put that one down as the most cowboyish scene.
Okay, that's a good one.
Cool.
I love how you wrote the entire quote out, Nate.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't about to memorize that.
That's a really good one too. And it also goes back to what we've said previously of how he uses his environment. He starts off the phone call with the recorder on so the guy can answer the phone, Noah Volson.
Then his thumbprint off the phone goes into the safe.
Very good. Okay, and you did best quote and best scene there.
Yep.
Nelly, what's your favorite scene? Just scene.
The fight scene with Dash.
Okay, so you like the fight scene with Dash?
Yeah.
Where the original book kill comes into play?
Yeah, the original.
Actually, he doesn't kill him with the book.
He beats him up with it.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Right? He totally wrecks his day with it.
He whoops him
That's
with
for
it.
sure.
That last hit on his face.
It's interesting because you have to think about, like, when he comes down, Dash is coming down with some form of an object, And
Candlestick.
you have to think of
Clue.
you have to think of like actually how hard
true.
books are. That a book is strong enough to absorb that blow from the binding. Oh, interesting.
It's a hardcover.
Because paperback,
Yeah.
would have died.
Fractured wrist.
Joe, favorite scene.
Yeah, my favorite scene was actually where he's instructing the reporter where to go.
Yeah.
Ross.
Really, yeah.
Simon Ross.
I agree with you. Waterloo Station. Not so much the action.
Correct.
It's the telling them which way to go. It's the playing chess against the cameras, against the people.
We makes him stand next to the guy with the blue hood.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one, and
Yep.
tells him way off, and then
So cool.
Yeah.
And like tie your shoe right now, and he like
Yeah,
drops so you
ducks.
can avoid people looking for him.
He sneaks in the phone into his pocket and
Oh,
then
yeah.
calls it.
Yeah.
That's good.
How about the rendition they put on that guy he talks to, that they think he's talking to? The guy gets on the bus and they go in there and they basically inject him to steal
just
him
drag
out.
him out, and they're
Yeah. Well, you hear him say it. Invoke a rendition protocol. We're about to basically take this guy.
yeah.
I had a note here that says, "Can't believe they just sedated the blue hood guy." Like out of the blue, they don't know who the guy is. They're like, yeah, you need to go.
Talk about having a bad day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Joe, yours and mine is the same.
Cool.
The best scene. That might be the best scene in the entire series.
I really enjoyed it. Like, there's moments in movies where you're quite literally on the edge of your seat, and I think I had actually scooted closer to the TV watching that scene unfold.
Just that step by step he does, the instructions over the phone he does with it is just
It's
so clever.
It is.
So precise.
I like
Yeah,
that. I like they're so
exactly.
focused on Simon Ross. They don't even pick up the Bournes in the crowd.
No, yeah, walks by the two guards
Yes.
right before the.
Yeah, he's standing right in front of
Yeah,
them,
uh-huh.
and then he goes in and just basically wipes them all out and goes, "That's Jason Bourne,"
Oh, that was one of my quotes, where he's like, "Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne."
That's what I'd say if he was coming at me
Yeah.
too. Okay, so that's your quote?
Yeah.
All right, Joe, what's your quote?
My quote's right at the end, actually, when Pamela Landy has just faxed all the documents off. She just says, "You better get yourself a good lawyer,"
Okay.
and walks out of the room.
Yeah, that was a good
mic
one, too.
drop.
So this
That's
was
cool.
This was my favorite quote from the first movie, which is also a callback. It's the conversation with the professor,
Okay. Yeah.
Clive Owen, in the cornfield, and he says, "Do you even know why you're coming after me? Look what they make you give." And that's when Edgar Ramirez, the assassin of the movie, lowers his gun. Right.
Lets him go, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. I just like that callback to kind of tie it together that he's, because you can make the argument. It's interesting that Clive Owen has that viewpoint, and the first movie is, you'd have to ask yourself, is he maybe not infatuated with being an assassin? Like, if he has that mindset, is Clive Owen like wanting out? And because Jason Bourne clearly wants out.
Right.
And Jason Bourne to have that same kind of viewpoint of Clive Owen is like, look what they're doing to you. Is Clive Owen, a little long in the tooth as an assassin in the first movie? I don't know. It's an interesting storyline we don't ever really get much about.
Yeah.
Gift one item advice to another character. Nelly, you want to start?
I just put down, don't chase Bourne. Never ends well.
That is really good advice.
I just give Bourne his memory back and say, "Go get him."
Okay.
Point in the
Joe?
right
Yeah.
direction.
This one, I wanted you guys to help me out with this scene because to me it looked like when Bourne was following Dash,
Okay.
he was super close.
Yep.
And Dash
Yeah.
spots him in the mirror.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
And then with how that situation went sideways, it almost didn't seem intentional. Like, everything Bourne does, he has a reason for it. There's a plan behind it. And that, to me, seemed like a genuine screw-up.
Yes.
Desh was able to plant the bag, but actually the bomb's in the scooter. And
Yeah.
He was just
It was
one step
super
ahead
clever.
of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That threw me off yesterday after seeing that.
Yeah.
But that goes to my argument that I want to get to later about it's been 3 years.
Okay, good point.
He's
but
not training like these guys are training.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
So
missed it.
we'll come back to that. But
yeah. So my advice was don't follow Desh so close. Sorry, to circle back to the category, that would be my advice.
I think my advice would be they got to get better phones.
Yes.
Everything's on a flip phone.
I have this note too.
The
Yeah,
razor.
it's there's such bad technology that doesn't age well. Is their use of phones in the series?
Well, the other one, thing, the POV camera,
Yeah.
like the stick, and they're
Yeah.
just like, not really noticeable. You're just a guy with the camera like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon Ross has a BlackBerry. Has anyone heard of those in the past,
yeah.
decade?
BlackBerry.
No?
Oh, when Noah said something in the room, he's like, check all the blackberries. I was like, oh, blackberries.
That's taking me back right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you mean the full keyboard?
Yeah. No, I also really, I'll tell you, it's not really gift or advice, but it's Simon Ross. The advice would be listen to Jason Bourne.
Oh, yeah. Stay on that path.
That dude freaks out at least twice where he disregards the advice.
That's how he gets shot.
He
gets killed. There's that clip at least shows up in Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner. Again, those movies are kind of going parallel with Bourne Ultimatum. In this particular scene, you see that they show the actor running out from the basically the bodega, essentially in the store, and this gets shot. So interesting that they're running parallel.
Could you imagine as many sniper games as we've all played, like having like a window to where that sign rotates and you're pointing at yourself like I got it.
We play sniper rifles, everything.
That is baloney. There's no way.
One shot, one kill.
You wouldn't even need that window. I probably would have shot through the door. When I see his head pop out from the window in the door, he would have been done.
Don't peek.
Yeah. How about most cowboyish scene, Joe?
Mine was, Nelly, you mentioned it earlier. I put it in this one, the fight with Desh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a toss-up for me between that fight sequence as also being my favorite scene, so I put this one in the most cowboyish scene. But once again, just to revisit it, this is the scene that sold me. I already thought that from the first two movies, he's clearly very capable.
Yeah.
And the action sequences were very entertaining. But it was this one, the use of the book, the set that they're able to destroy.
Towel in the bathtub.
Yes.
The razor.
That as well, just everything about it. Man, it just exemplifies everything that Bourne's capable of while potentially being rusty.
Yes.
Like, this dude's just ready to go at it, even though he's not like he's actively training with an opponent to stay on top of his skill set.
I love your arms.
Yeah.
Dude's doing active karate chops in the
someday we're gonna
in our studio.
We're gonna video podcast this someday.
He's just really good using his surroundings.
Yeah, he is. Really great. You said your most cowboyish scene was breaking into Noah Volson's office, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's great too. I don't. It's not mine, but I can't. I have a hard time imagining he's going to be able to break into CIA headquarters.
Yeah.
Right? But what's funny is they show him like doing these back doors. If you actually watch the scene leading up to where gets into the office, he's taking like these back routes and like ladders and staircases. They're like, what? He can just get in like a side exit?
I had that note too for when he sneaks into Neil's office.
Neil Daniels, yeah.
Neil Daniels' office, and the motion sensor isn't
fully
calibrated to the point to where an open door could be to send like a signal.
Partway open door, right?
Yeah,
like just like it's almost like it has to break a certain plane before they can go ahead and
that kills me. That's not. First of all, that's
not how that works.
That's terrible for a CIA agent to be like, let's angle it this way with this kind of range.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys. I got two different cowboyish scenes, and they're actually going to both belong to Julia Stiles. One, to give the wrong code. Because at this point, I don't think she can fully comprehend that she can trust Jason Bourne at this point. But she's going to go with the gut feeling that Joe talks about.
Yeah.
Okay? That's pretty ballsy there.
I think
second of all, no, right, but I'm saying that at that point, though, the last time she was with him, he put a gun to her head.
Yeah.
Okay? The second part was when Desh and Jason Bourne are fighting, and she goes and attacks him.
Yeah.
And he just wallops her.
Just a back
he
elbow.
elbowed her twice and then kicked her. I'm just saying, that's pretty gutsy.
Yeah.
So I would give it to her 2 times. The trusting Jason Bourne, I think, is number 1, and then really attacking Dash was pretty interesting. Considering in the first movie, I guess it's Marie. So, not the same. But they look the same. Cut her hair to be like...
I thought that was kind
cut
of
her hair to be
trying
like
to
identical.
dye her hair, like try to make another Marie out of her or something.
Yeah.
Do you think she's taking that to try to make Jason Bourne...
I think so.
Yeah, she wants him.
Just the way she looks at him.
I think she plays a very good part in this too, because Noah goes, "You have 1 hour before backup arrives," or whatever, and she goes, Jason Bourne asks her, and she goes, "No, you have 3 minutes before they get here." But she continually helps him and tells him exactly what he needs to know, and she knows the protocols as well to know this is the information that he needs to know. She's direct to it and doesn't waste any time. It's kind of it's a good match.
It is. Yeah.
And speaking on that scene too, the way they got away, he calls in the police and saying that some Americans look like some Americans with them guns.
Yeah.
Takes out the shots and and
walks off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the guys come up, and then the cops come up and arrest them.
Yeah.
And they get away.
That's good. What doesn't age well?
Blackberries and flip phones.
Yeah, the Razor and Blackberries.
Okay.
Yep.
And the little POV cams they had.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's actually what I had too.
Internet
Apparently
cafes.
we were all in agreement on
Are
that.
they still a thing in?
AOL dial-up.
It might be in Europe. I don't know.
I don't
How
know.
about there was a Norton Security?
Yes, I wrote that down too. Like, what a huge plug for Norton antivirus.
Yeah, good thing.
Good product placement
McAfee's
there.
Like-
way to go.
Like the freaking government is going, hey Norton, can you provide us with antivirus software? Like they don't create their own?
So what's interesting though, is I don't know how many of you have seen the fifth Bourne, so the last Jason Bourne.
I have
It's
not.
been a while.
Okay, so the premise of that movie is that the U.S. government basically is trying to take over something akin to Facebook or work with like a Facebook type organization because they want all the metadata, and that's basically kind of like the backstory that's going on in that time period. So interesting, component that like, talking about like dial-up, cell phones. Like Desh gets that video clip or whatever, that clip of like both Jason Bourne and Nikki Parsons like side by side. I'm like, no photo would come in that clean on that flip phone.
Yeah. How many pixels you got on that?
Seriously.
I had a note on that too about like how does the government before the Jason Bourne movie, but they essentially have like infinite information, right?
Yes.
But it's not so much the metadata and all that stuff, but how do you organize, sort, and filter through all of that stuff in order to do what they do in these movies? I don't know if that is realistic in any capacity at all or not. I mean, Google's probably the best algorithm to like search for things, but it's hard to like find different mediums to which the government is searching for, like on video cameras and audio files and all sorts of different things. I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, sorry, no, I was to say it's pretty crazy how they picked up Blackbriar on the phone when the keyword came in.
The NSA listening.
Like, how do you know what you're looking for where, and how do you phonetically like collect that information?
The real question is, does the NSA listen to the Aliens podcast? And if you're listening,
I've never used my last name, right?
subscribe and hit that 5-star rating. Tell your friends, tell your mom. Okay, so I got a couple things that I don't think age well. Number one, let's revisit Pam Landy giving up her career. Would she? Let me ask. Okay, how about this? We won't get into the debate.
Right.
We won't get into the debate, Joe. My question is: does she go to jail for this?
It doesn't make it seem like she's going to by the end of this.
But she's
she
basically
has the possibility to, certainly.
I mean, you could argue, but you could argue she's committing treason. I mean, she is committing treason. We could argue what's morally correct or not. Legally speaking, she is committing treason by doing this.
That's a good point.
She would
All
go.
those classified files
She'd go to jail. So
with the black hood over her head.
yeah, she would be rendition protocol. They knock her out. Put
Just
her
like
in
Blue Hood guy.
Put her in Gitmo.
Poor blue guy.
Gitmo.
So I don't know if that ages well because I think she'd go to jail for this. Also, I think that this would just end up as like a 4chan conspiracy theory that the government was like killing U.S. citizens on their soil, and people would just like sweep over it, right? So I feel like the CIA like hearings that like the Scott Glenn's character Ezra goes to, that'd be over in a week. That'd be on C-SPAN. Nobody would watch it. We'd be on some kind of like some social media thing would have happened, or reality TV star would say something, and we'd be past that. So I don't even think this would be a blip on the radar of like the news cycle today. Thoughts?
Maybe a little scroll bar at the bottom.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Are we sure that Jason Bourne should be able to take out these assassins 3 years without training?
We don't know he hasn't been training. He got bulkier.
But my question is, he admits he's been doing this for 3 years, trying to figure out who he is, which means he is not at the level of CIA probably training or resources that these guys have. You would think he's not fighting or killing people to the degree that these other people probably have been in that 3 year period. I'm assuming Desh has killed plenty of people in that 3 years. Are we to believe that he can wipe out the entire Blackbriar and Treadstone operation basically single-handedly?
Especially being the first agent. So, right, they've got to learn from their mistakes and learn how to incorporate those into the next iteration and then the next iteration to make them more capable. But I don't know.
I took a slightly different thought on that, and I actually compared it to, believe it or not, Master Chief. So in the Halo series, he's technically I'm sorry in advance if I get the specifics of this incorrect.
Here comes the hate man.
Yeah, right? So,
get him.
As there was a first generation of Spartans that fail in the Halo universe. So, Master Chief is the second version of that, all right? But he's still the second version that worked well. It was so risky, and it was such a strain on the body that future Spartan programs, while effective, were nowhere near as powerful as the Spartan 2 program was. And I kind of view Jason Bourne as the first and the most pristine example of what they were hoping to accomplish, that no one actually then was ever as good as Jason Bourne was. Be that from a change in training, or they thought some things that were part of the training were too over the top or too rigorous. Who knows? It's purely speculative, but that's kind of what
I like that.
That's kind of what came to mind when I was also considering his ability to just annihilate everybody with very little difficulty.
I mean, just to speak to it, kind of belongs in like the John Wick conversation that as he's getting older and assassins are younger, he's still able to wipe everybody out, right? And I'm not to say that I think if they were to say Jason Bourne was genetically enhanced, it would make sense. They've not genetically enhanced him.
True.
They genetically enhanced Jeremy Renner's character and the fourth Bourne legacy, but not this particular Jason Bourne. So he would be arguably wearing down.
Like I was telling Nate out in the kitchen, and Supremacy, there's a part or the scene where he's saying he's got a headache.
Yeah.
With Marie. And if you look, he takes like a blue pill, so it makes me think maybe it's the pills from Legacy.
It could be Advil.
But he kind of tries to hide it.
Oh, well, I'm not sure, because there's no other mention to anything of any genetic enhancement. It's just psychological. All we get for the training purposes psychologically. So,
True.
I mean, not to say you can't, but I'm saying like you would be retconning the character as genetically enhanced if we made that.
Well, I think they make mention of him having like serious psychological problems with overcoming the first kill, right?
Yeah.
So where he kind of fails out, and finally he kind of comes to, he's starting asking all these questions as to why am I going to kill this person?
Yeah.
And he goes, doesn't matter, and then he finally shoots him 5 times or whatever it is. But like maybe that has some sort of a
no
hold.
blood on the wall, nothing.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? That's how clean he is.
Next
Next question, Joe. This one's going to be directed at you.
Bring it on.
Is Jason Bourne redeemable?
Was Jason Bourne redeemable?
Like, let's put it this
Yes.
way. At the end of the day, he's still an assassin.
Right.
He has still killed many people. And I would think that if you're saying that Jason Bourne could become a good guy, and that Jason Bourne... I would think that if Jason Bourne's a good guy, I don't see how we can say Noah Volson's a bad guy.
Okay.
Because
I'll tell you.
a lot of times Jason Bourne has worked for Noah Volson. Okay, go ahead. And I want your 2 opinion. Go ahead.
All right, so prior to Jason Bourne losing his memory and setting off this whole series of events, I would agree. Okay, he would be no better. But this is kind of a redemption story in a lot of ways as well. So Jason Bourne, while he initially lost his memory, didn't know he had done all these terrible things. Now he has since gone through these series of events that's allowed him to regain his memory. And he's very clearly hugely remorseful of the fact that he's done all of this. He himself, I think, wants to be a better person and leave this life behind him. The whole reason why he did a lot of this was to get answers. So now he has those answers, and he doesn't want to keep doing this. He's trying to get out for good, it seems like. It's not like he's trying to do this as a re-entry into the program. He's like, holy cats, this was awful. I can't believe my past life, like I was this person in my past life, so to speak, so I'm going to now try and better myself. Whereas pretty much everyone else that we meet that's an antagonist is like, game on, this is my job, this is what I do.
Can I just tell you something? And I love this about you right now. And I love that, to be fair, you have not seen this. Can I just tell you in Jason Bourne, it's to re-enter the program.
Son of a...
The entire premise of the Jason Bourne movie,
Are you
he re-enters the
kidding
program
me
at the
now?
end of the film.
Okay, well that...
No, that's no, sorry. You have not seen it, but I swear to God he re-enters
I
Treadstone.
believe you, and I appreciate you advising me of that.
But you don't know that yet.
No, I didn't, and admittedly that it completely wrecks what I viewed as a redemption story
but
for him.
But I would tell you, I don't remember why he enters the program
Okay.
again. But essentially, he wants to, like, get back into it. I know the entire fifth movie, or the Jason Bourne, I shouldn't call it fifth, because Bourne Legacy is its own thing. It stands kind of on its own. So let's just say the fourth Jason Bourne movie with Matt Damon, they go into a lot of how he's kind of tricked into joining Treadstone versus, like, he volunteers, but they trick him to volunteer in a way. And it's a story of like how Treadstone became the program with his father as like the head of it.
Oh, that's a lot more background and lore to the series. So.
Spoiler alert. The U.S. government assassinates his father by making it seem like some militant like terrorist group does it.
Okay.
So Jason Bourne, being like a military guy, gets super like angry and you know, like patriotic, obviously, and like joins up basically.
Okay,
and
I got
he
you.
becomes like the head assassin. Pretty sure at the end of the movie he rejoins the CIA. So just interesting. We won't cover that movie. That's why I'm bringing it to Joe's attention now. We're gonna move on from the trilogy.
Sure. Well, and that's, I guess, where there's once again, they make it seem like a pretty clear distinction between what's quote-unquote standard operations within the CIA would be in this universe of Jason Bourne versus the extreme lengths of Blackbriar and Treadstone. At least that's kind of how I've viewed it. Like, Blackbriar and Treadstone were the most off-the-books ops you could possibly kind of have. Yep. So, that's interesting. Okay. All right, I'll need to watch...
Sorry, Joe. You're like, he's a great man. He doesn't want to do this anymore. Like, well, actually, he just goes right back home in a minute. You guys, your thought process.
In 2016, they decided that was their
which, to be fair, is like a retconning of his character. Okay, you guys, Nate, Nelly, Jason Bourne, is irredeemable?
I think so.
Nate?
I think he is too. I go back to the Wombosi assassination. It's where he has the children on his chest. Like, there's some sort of critical thinking there that occurs that, like, if he kills them in front of his children, that he's just going to create 5 more Wombosis with the same agenda against the United States or whatever.
Why do you guys think he stopped? Why do you think he stopped?
Wombosi specifically?
Uh-huh. Why did he short circuit?
Kids, I think.
Why though? What do you maybe think that Nikki Parsons was pregnant?
I actually don't necessarily.
I'm just coming up with theories.
No, that's a good, theory.
Off the cuff.
Curveball, Nate. Right in the groin.
I think that it's suddenly the situation he's viewing as much more complex than perhaps he has previously. Also, the first Black Ops kill he has.
Yes.
Wherein it's
the Nesky murder.
The Nesky murder, where he kills the wife because she was there when she wasn't supposed to be. It's this horrible event from his past that haunts him. And flash forward to Wombosi, that has to be going through his mind.
Which, by the way,
he hasn't lost his memory at the outset of the Wombosi incident there, so...
Okay. Still does not age well that he told the Nesky daughter about the murders.
Yeah, still... Yeah, I'm glad we talked about that last episode. Yes. That is kind of... Yeah. That's weird.
Well, yeah, so... Is he really considering that he's going to create 5 more Wombosis with all the children watching this murder, right? Because that's just a blight against the United States, which wouldn't be good. Or is he doing it from an emotional response to these children are going to be traumatized? You don't really know, and they don't really delve into it. I'm assuming that you're supposed to assume that it's some sort of traumatization emotionally, and he doesn't want to do it in front of his children.
Yeah,
that's what I think. He didn't want to take them out in front of the kids. It'd be traumatic for them.
Do we think that Jason Bourne has ever killed children before?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. We know he's killed women.
Yeah.
So...
It's true.
It's not that much of a step.
Out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. Well, no, for Bourne, Bourne wouldn't stoop to that. I get nothing from his character that would lead me to believe that he would ever go that far.
I don't think he'd go that low.
Extreme.
Okay, you guys have a really high opinion of Jason Bourne. Okay.
You're the negative Nancy.
No, I'm just simply asking the questions that you guys these are hard-hitting journalistic questions.
Yeah.
Listen, Joe and I talked about this. When you guys become professional film critics, like we are, we have a responsibility on this podcast. Tough-hitting, hard questions, Nate. This is a good one. Should this movie get a reboot, a new sequel, or the TV show that is actually going to be coming to USA Network called Treadstone?
Well, there's our answer.
But let me ask you this. Do you want another Matt Damon, Jason Bourne movie? Knowing that some of you maybe have not seen the actual fourth movie.
Me personally, I'd like to see the avenue they went down with Jeremy Renner with the genetically modified guys.
Ugh, the movie sucked.
I liked it.
Like that. Yeah, I liked it.
I love that before this, that was the only Bourne movie you've seen, Joe.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if they told you that, Nelly, or not. Like
I remember.
back in the day, I'd actually seen that one in theaters, and that Jeremy Renner spinoff was the only Bourne entry that I'd seen.
I feel like that's the equivalent of being
That's
like
a good one.
I feel like that's the equivalent of
it.
only saying I've seen Die Hard 5.
I don't
Walking into Godfather 3 and be like, oh, it's okay.
It's really good.
It doesn't make much sense.
Hey, you guys are
but
gonna hate
okay.
me, but I've only seen Matrix 3, the third one.
That's okay.
Okay,
We watched
I got
we
you.
watched
no.
Matrix 2 and horrible. So,
Just watch one.
Yeah.
Standalone.
So I was
Yeah.
lost
Stop.
in the theater when I went to go
One's
see the third one.
phenomenal.
Okay.
Okay, how about this? Let's give it a movie ranking. We added this this category without Nate. We're giving it a... Did we do numbers or letters? We did letters. Numbers. We did numbers.
We did numbers.
Give
No,
it
I
a
don't
number
know.
1 through 10, Nate.
Yeah.
Where do you
Give it
rank this movie?
7 gold stars.
Oh, Nate's... forgot about Nate's rating systems.
You guys' little impromptu rating
Nate's
system.
like, I
was
give it
hilarious.
7 stars and 1 thumb up. All right, Nelly.
I'll look into the book, Pam, see if there's a conversion chart in there.
All right, Nelly,
I mean,
what do
of
you
course, I gave it 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10?
So,
I'm
okay,
being
nice.
biased, and
Let-
it's my favorite.
That's okay.
No,
Let me ask you this. So Nate refuses to give anything 10 out of 10 until really you flip the page and there's a 10 out of 10 on the next page.
Nothing's perfect.
But so 10 out of 10.
I'm just saying,
That's-
maybe
that's okay.
maybe 9 out of 10 because of the shaky camera, but overall, the movie, the plot,
Okay.
10 out of 10. I like the espionage type
Okay.
movie, action.
Jojo?
I totally agree with Nelly. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
I love this movie. It was
Okay.
super good. Yeah.
Okay. I got a couple questions here. I'll just do a 9 out of 10 as well.
Okay.
Let's do rank the assassins. So I'm going to give you the list of assassins.
Okay, yeah.
You
Let's
tell
do
me
it.
who the best assassin is.
You're going to have to remind me and probably some of the listeners.
That's okay. So I'm going to give you the professor, Clive Owen. Okay. I'm going to give you Carl Urban or Kirill. Okay. He's in the second one.
In the kitchen, in the house.
No. He's the assassin. He's Carl Urban. He's the Russian assassin in the second
Russian
one.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
third movie, I'm going to give you Dinesh. And I'm going to give you Edgar Ramirez's character. I don't remember his name.
Paz.
Paz.
I
So I'm
was
going to give
thinking
you
what his assassin
Clive Owen,
was.
the professor, Kirill, Dinesh, and Paz. Who's your favorite assassin?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
Dinesh. I think he gets the better of Bourne in the third one.
Yeah.
Where he's clever enough to drop the bag thinking that Bourne will think it's the bomb, still kills his target, and walks off for the most part.
Yeah. That was a good move on him.
Do you go with him too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, this is going to be very
Really?
Whoa.
unanimous almost. I would also say
3
Dinesh.
for 3.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Where are you at?
I'm going to go Carl Urban.
Yeah.
I think Kirill in the second movie is just as good. He's able to wound Jason Bourne to a degree that nobody else has.
That's true.
I'm trying to think. I don't think his character dies.
He does.
He dies in
Gets
that car
rammed
accident.
by the... Well, I guess we're left to believe he dies.
Okay.
Like, do they ever...
We didn't see the body.
Maybe we don't get a true confirmation of it.
No, I'm not sure. I thought it was
Like-
kind of like Edgar Ramirez, where he's in the car accident. And he just gets left there.
He gets left there, but unlike Edgar Ramirez, who we see, like, again at the end, I don't think we get that out
Okay.
of Carl Urban.
If John Wick was there,
You remind me what
he just got
happened?
up and walked
He,
away.
yeah, it's true.
In the second one, what happened to him?
Car accident. Kirill gets supposedly killed. I didn't think he died.
It's like the kind of the opposite of what happens in the third one, actually, which I thought was interesting. So in the third one, Edgar Ramirez rams Jason Bourne's car, but Edgar Ramirez still gets hurt worse
yeah.
than Jason Bourne does. But in the second one, it's Jason Bourne who rams Carl Urban's car like into the kind of the partition.
Yes.
In it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but I'll tell you,
It
we you and I debated this car hitting people thing.
We did.
Whether John Wick gets hit by
This one has a lot more of it as well, by the way.
But the one thing Jason Bourne does is he always sees him. They show him grabbing a seatbelt. They see him
super
grabbing something
Yes.
to try to absorb impact at all times. Whereas John Wick just flat out gets hit by a car, like outside the car.
Like in GTA, with the civilians, they just get back up and start walking away.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the John Wick Jason Bourne debate, and we'll put it to bed today. Nate, on the record, you've seen all 3 John Wicks, and you've seen all 3 Jason Bournes.
Yep. I find watching John Wick to be more entertaining.
No, I'm not asking what's a better film series. I'm asking who would win in a hand-to-hand combat fight.
I still think John Wick.
Okay. Nelly?
Bourne, hands down.
And you've seen all of them,
Hands
correct?
down.
Okay.
All 3.
Yep, of both Wick and Bourne.
Wick 1 and 2 has been a while, but
Did you not see 3 with
I
us?
saw 3 with you guys.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Wick, he's good with the gunfighting.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. But hand to hand, I give it to Bourne.
I do too. I picked Jason Bourne still. Joe, you're the one I'm interested in.
Well,
He's the swing vote kind of.
He's a swinger.
yeah, in a way here. I'm gonna stick to my guns though on this. All right,
I knew you would.
I gotta stick with Wick on this. I do think once again that after seeing the 3rd movie, like after seeing the first 2, I was like, okay, it's like John Wick, but this 3rd one, it would be like a very even playing field. Okay. So both of them would be incredibly injured, incredibly bloody by the end of it. But I think it boiled down to one thing for me. I actually I didn't literally write out a pro-con chart, or kind of Wick versus Bourne chart, but in my head I was trying to do it. And the one thing I think Wick has that Bourne does not is he is more ruthless, and he wouldn't hesitate for that final kill moment.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
So I'm not saying that's a positive quality that Wick possesses, but I think that is a portion
Gives him
of
a one-up.
Bourne's empathy, which is something John Wick lacks. After his wife and dog both die.
Understandable.
Yes,
Spoiler
he just
alert.
goes complete rage path after that. So I think that's ultimately what pushed him over the edge for me.
Okay.
As the victor in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else to put a bow on the Bourne trilogy?
Where are you at? We didn't ask you.
I got Jason Bourne.
Oh, we're 50-50.
So now we're tied, yeah.
So listeners, which I did put a poll up on Twitter and did come out the Jason Bourne.
They did say
up
Bourne.
64%.
64?
Nice.
Yeah.
What kind of listeners do we have here?
Ones that agree with us. No, wait, you picked John Wick, didn't you?
I did. I'm a Wick man.
This is the kind of crap I deal with
Yeah.
on a weekly basis.
Yeah, me and
Sorry.
Joe just beat up on you every week.
Yeah, these guys, they're just
I hear it.
Nate doesn't because he doesn't listen.
I got one thing though.
Yeah, go ahead.
About a prequel, back in the day,
Training?
they would have done a
Okay.
prequel. Like,
Oh.
With
prior-
actual Matt Damon?
yeah, but I mean, it should have been back before, like in his younger
Yeah.
years. They could have done a prequel, maybe like his prior military service, maybe showing
be
how
cool.
he stepped into
Okay.
the program,
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do that in the TV show.
kind of like on a spy game. You know,
Yep.
how he went out and recruited
Yeah.
him out.
That's a great idea.
That'd be good.
That'd be a lot of good training stuff
Yeah.
that they go through.
But I think he's too old now to do that. But
Yeah,
it would
in
have
out
been,
of
it would have
shape.
been, I think,
He's
a
not
good
gonna be in
prequel.
that shape.
No,
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Good trilogy. You guys think it's better than the Matrix trilogy? Because I do.
I agree.
Oh,
Through and
absolutely.
through, yes.
Okay. Like I said,
it
that's,
just really, I'm really glad that we did these series of reviews because I finally got to see the Bourne trilogy.
Yeah.
And truly, it shot up there for me.
Good.
Like, it's one of the best trilogies I've ever seen.
good. They
So,
stick the
yeah.
landing. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
One's really good. Two's not bad.
Yeah.
For considering sequels are pretty bad a lot of times. And 3 just really.
Especially twos, because you don't really have you kind of have this middle beginning, and you don't really have an end either. It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
That's why Terminator 2 is the best sequel of all time.
Agreed.
Strong
Well,
argument there.
Godfather 2 might be up there too. Which, I don't know if you guys have seen the Godfather trilogy. We won't probably cover it. I should make you cover it. But we won't.
Homework assignment.
It's a 10-hour homework assignment to watch
Yeah.
all 3 films.
Yeah.
Other than that, guys, Nelly, I want to thank you for joining us
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, thanks.
If you want, we'll see if we'll have you back next week for Hell or High Water is what we're going to watch next week. It's on Netflix, so I think everybody should have access to it. So if you're the audience, go out and listen to it or watch it. Again, personal favorite of mine, Taylor Sheridan. He's my favorite writer-director right now. So really excited for that. Go out there, Aliens and Cowboys podcast. Get us at aliensandcowboys@gmail.com. On Twitter at Alien and Cowboy. You can go out and subscribe to our other podcasts. Still no content really up on that yet, but that's The Watchman for Nixon. Again, that's going to cover the HBO show coming out this fall. Joe and I are trying to figure out, we're going to get together to do the Watchmen movie review.
Yep.
And that's where you'll locate that. Hopefully it will be up this weekend. If not, we'll find time to do it. Other than that, guys, any final words, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Okay. Give us a 5-star review, rating. Hit the 5-star button, Nate. Tell your wife. I'm sure she's subscribed.
She knows.
She knows. She knows. All right. And we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.